and I work as Vice President of Climate and Circular Economy. And I will share some highlights of our work together with my colleague Kalle Ikonen. Kalle's work focuses on EU advocacy, specifically on topics related to forest. One feature which makes Metsä Group unique is that our parent company is Metsäliitto Cooperative, owned by over 90,000 Finnish private forest owners. We have 5 business areas, and as a company we don't own any forests, but one of our business areas, Metsä Forest, offers forest management services and also takes care of our wood procurement. The other business areas include Metsä Tissue, which produces tissue papers and greaseproof papers, Metsä Board, which focuses on paper boards, especially for packaging applications, Metsä Wood produces engineered wood products, for example for construction, and Metsä Fiber operates our bioproduct mills and sawmills. In addition, we also have an innovation company, Metsä Spring, which, for example, invests in startups. Altogether, we are over 9,000 people working at Metsä Group globally, but all our production takes place in Europe. As you can see, we already also have some production sites in UK, and currently Metsä Tissue is planning an investment to construct a big and modern tissue paper mill in Yorkshire. And this big tissue paper mill would be built with a future mill concept, meaning it would pay a lot of attention to sustainability related issues, and it would actually increase the self-sufficiency of UK in tissue papers a lot. As Axel explained in his presentation, the European Commission is really committed to its Green Deal and has in place or is developing a number of regulatory initiatives which have impacts on individual organizations, on value chains, and also on systems, so on whole society and the nature. At Metsä Group, sustainability is really in the core of our strategy, and our actions are guided by our strategic 2030 targets. And these targets, they cover all the elements of sustainability, meaning environmental, social, and governance aspects. The first time we set these targets, that was in 2018, but they were revised last year, and the revision was based on so-called double materiality analysis. And this double materiality analysis is one of the key principles of this new corporate sustainability reporting directive. And we are obliged to report as a big company according to this directive this year. But what we did was that we piloted already reporting on our sustainability matters and facts and figures already this year. So if you want to have a look on our report, it was published last week, and really we tried to follow and pilot the guideline that is set in the new directive. One of our core targets is to have fossil-free mills by 2030, meaning that our mills wouldn't use any fossil raw materials nor consume any fossil energy or fuels. And all our new mills which are constructed will be fossil-free from the start. And it goes without saying that it's not enough to just set targets. We cannot reach the targets without actions and having roadmaps in place. So we have in place a specific roadmap for each and every mill that we have at Metsä Group. A specific roadmap must be done so that we reach our target. And we also monitor our progress in a systematic way, and then we report on our progress in our sustainability reporting. Here you can see how we have proceeded in our fossil-free mills target. And now this is an average of all mills. We already have some mills which are fossil-free already. For example, we have a quite new bioproduct mill in Äänekoski, Finland, which is fossil-free already. As a company, the basis of all our business is in sustainably managed northern forests.
And yeah, so like Maija said in the beginning, that I'm doing advocacy work in Brussels, but I have practical experience from Finnish forestry before that, and therefore I'm trying to now explain you a little bit more about our sustainable forest management practices. And actually 1 year ago we launched a regenerative forestry concept, which is really unique concept. No other companies have that kind of forest management model yet in place, but we have. And what it is all about, so of course we try to be proactive in forest management, and we try to react on global megatrends like biodiversity loss and climate change and so on. So I try to explain regenerative forestry via a couple of examples. I start from the regulation point of view, and we go to EU regulations and especially nature restoration. Actually yesterday, European Parliament approved this regulation, and what is it all about? Basically it sets targets for the member states to restore their ecosystems. It sets different kind of thresholds by 2030, 2040 and finally 2050 for the member states to restore all the ecosystems which need restoration in those countries. And from Metsä Group's point of view, why this is really important. Of course, we have been investing a lot, several billion euros in Europe from 2016, and we are continuing our investments. It means that in the future we will need resilient, healthy and productive forests. And to achieve that state, we see that we need to more active forest management, but more sustainable forest management as well. And therefore we see this regulation really important to safeguard our wood resources also in the future. And what we are already doing in Finland and in the Nordics, for example, if we talk about sustainable forest management, we have several restoration measures already in place, which are answering to that goal what the this regulation is setting. But then we are talking about regenerative forestry, which goes actually beyond these requirements. Then I changed to the second regulation, which is really topical, and it's the deforestation and forest degradation regulation. From our perspective, again, we need the forests also in the future. We don't want to cause any deforestation or forest degradation, and therefore we also need this regulation. This regulation is about setting framework, what kind of forest management we should have in the future, that we are not causing any deforestation globally. This regulation covers 7 commodities, including wood, which is of course the most crucial from our point of view. And the regulation covers long list of products which have been produced from these commodities. In practice, it means that any economic operator who is placing commodities or products on the EU market or exporting these products from the EU market should ensure that these products or the value chains related to them are not causing deforestation or forest degradation. And again, if we look at the practices, what we are doing in Finland and the Nordics in our economic forests, we see that we are already fulfilling the requirements coming from this regulation. But again, regenerative forestry goes beyond these requirements. To explain the current forest management methods in Nordics, I have 2 pictures here. On the right hand side, we have so-called monoculture. Usually it's called plantation. So it's based on single tree species, and the starting point of this kind of forest management is that all the natural biodiversity has been removed, then the foreign tree species have been planted there, which leads to the situation where there is some few percent of the natural biodiversity left in this kind of forest ecosystems. Then in a comparison, we have semi-natural forests, which we have in the Nordics. In these kind of forests, we are producing wood for the industry, but we are producing also several other ecosystem services. In this kind of forests, we have different aged forests and trees, but alongside with the living trees, we have also decaying wood, lying and standing. And in this kind of forest management system, we have some 70 to 80% of the natural biodiversity left. The major reason to that is that we are using native tree species, and therefore we have native biodiversity around them. And then regenerative forestry steps in, and it aims to increase that level from this 70 to 80% closer to the 100, where what is the state of the natural forests. But we are also doing economic operations in those forests. If we think about this semi-natural forest and forest management, actually it's fulfilling the requirements of the regulations and legislations. It's also fulfilling the requirements of the certification systems like PFC, FSC. But then regenerative forestry is increasing the barrier. And then what it means in practice. We see usually the forest management and the forest area just as a wood production perspective. But of course it includes several other ecosystems as well. It has water purification, it has wood, it has food recreation, carbon sinks, etc. Numerous of different kind of ecosystems. And but in the future, we are really going to measure the impacts of forest management actions. So we are collecting the data, and that helps us to evaluate that when we are talking about sustainable forest management, it's not only that we are leaving retention trees or making buffer zones or whatever there. We are really measuring the impacts, that we can really evaluate that which are the most efficient ones from the biodiversity perspective to increase the level of the biodiversity closer to that 100%. And in the end of the value chain, we have the wood products. And when we have science-based data and information, we can provide that information for the end users, the end customers, when they are purchasing the products, so they can see the real values and effects of our forest management methods. And then we come to these regulations like digital product passport requirements related to eco-design regulation, but also the Green Claims Directive, which we have Aksu was representing to us. But Maija, please continue from here.
Regarding evidence-based data, the role of life cycle analysis is on the increase and is also highlighted in the regulations like green claims and eco-design regulation as well. Here are two examples of life cycle analysis of Metsä Group products. The other one of them is a life cycle analysis study made by the Fraunhofer Institute of the pulp which is produced in this Äänekoski bioproduct mill, which I said, which is fossil-free. And then the other study is a Metsä tissue study that they carried out together with AFRY, which calculated the carbon footprint of toilet paper produced from fresh fibers and compared that carbon footprint to the toilet paper that is produced from recycled fibers. And surprisingly, the carbon footprint of the toilet paper produced from fresh fibers was lower than that of the toilet paper produced from recycled fibers. Just two examples of this LCA data. And as you mentioned, these digital product passports, I've also been reading some of the requirements or the proposed requirements, and carbon footprint is among the required data requirements. So in future, when we go shopping, we should have QR codes or some other codes in our products. We could scan with our telephones, and then we could see carbon footprint of the product, where it has been produced, what it contains, what are the social sustainability aspects, etc. Regarding the labels, Axel already mentioned that the EU Commission wants to reduce the amount of environmental labels on the market, and in future it will be so that only those labels which are approved by the Commission will be allowed on European market. In EU, we have in place a circular economy action plan, and companies are encouraged and expected to carry out circular actions. In an ideal circular economy, we would have the streams of energy and material, but also the streams of data and value optimized on a system level. We at Metsä Group, we aim to obey the three principles of circular economy in everything we do, meaning regenerating nature, eliminating waste and pollution, and keeping products and materials in use as long as possible. In reaching our circular targets, for example, we have a target of zero waste to landfill by 2030, collaboration and partnerships play a crucial role to us. Our circular approach also includes product packaging, and we aim that by 2030 we would have fossil-free packaging, and in plastics packaging our aim is to increase the recycled content in product packaging. And here at the UK market, for example, Metsä Tissue's products, they are already in line with the UK plastic tax legislation, meaning that the recycled content is typically above or around 30%, and so you don't have to pay the tax here in the UK. But all in all, with this one as well, we are continuously improving also our product packaging solutions. The Commission is increasingly guiding companies to take responsibility over the whole value chain. And at Metsä Group, we have a benefit that actually we have under our own umbrella a large part of the wood value chain, which also enables us to utilize the wood raw material in a sustainable way, meaning that the thickest part, so the logs, they are used for mechanical wood products, for example for construction. Then the thinner parts, which are kind of side streams of the logs, they are used for pulp and other bioproducts. And then just the residues, and then also the industrial side streams are used for energy. To reduce our Scope 3 emissions, we are making common sustainability commitments with our partners. For example, with Royal Wagenburg, we have set a common target, that we will reduce the carbon dioxide emissions in sea transport by 30% per ton per mile. This is just one example. We also have other common sustainability targets with our partners, and more are coming. Last but not least, I would like to highlight that we also find it very, very important to follow what takes place in the field of sustainability science, and we collaborate with academia to get insights to our own strategy and thinking, and then also we believe that this development in sustainability science also has an impact in the future regulation. And one emerging issue in sustainability science is sufficiency, which means make do with less, and includes principles like prefer needs over wants, and reduction of consumption or moderate consumption. And to sum up, it means that it's not enough that we develop the ways we produce to a more sustainable direction. We should also think how we can promote as companies or customers to promote sustainable consumption. And one example is Metsä Tissue's calculator for Katrin professional tissue products. So with this calculator, the customers can optimize the combination of Katrin products with respect to price, but also with respect to carbon dioxide emissions. And I think that in future we will need more and more tools like this, so that also our kids and future generations can have a good life on this planet.